There's this idea that beautiful appliances are just a nice wrapper, and when it comes to functionality, they often fall short. And honestly, there's some truth to that. I recently bought a Tefal iron with a really sleek design. It looks like a proper iron, even has a steamer built in. And do you know what? It turned out to be neither an iron nor a steamer. Total garbage. Looks nice, but in reality doesn't do anything properly. The only thing it's good at is just looking good. There are also those situations where the design is all for marketing and it ends up being too much design. Take most Dyson products, for example. The design is super recognizable, but the look isn't exactly universal. A lot of their stuff just doesn't fit into many interiors. What this video is about. Today we're talking about stylish and functional home appliances. Specifically, this one I'm picking out for my new apartment. Here is what in this video. Electric kettles, robot vacuums, hand-help vacuums, projectors, air purifiers, fridges, and other appliances I'm personally choosing for myself. I'll share my personal opinions, unsponsored, unfiltered, no ad. Because I don't have that many subscribers yet, and no one's paying me for promos. Though hey, you can subscribe, thanks in advance. Let's talk about air purifiers. I picked out two models for my apartment. One for the living room and another one for the bedroom. Why this specifically? Because they actually look like part of the interior. More like a piece of furniture than a regular appliance. And their design honestly reminds me of Star Wars. Kind of futuristic, a bit sci-fi, but still subtle. If you don't want your space ruined by ugly appliances that clash with everything, treat them like furniture pieces. Place them in your floor plan. Think about how they go with a couch, bed, rug, and your favorite cat. Just kidding, leaving the cat alone. Okay, first model, LG Air Tower. I'm putting this one in the living room. It got three functions in one: air purifier, fan, and heater. It has a rotating base, remote control, and app control. What I liked? The design. It actually looks great. No need to hide it or crop it out of the frame. The color. I've got beige walls and I picked a soft beige air tower. It fits my color palette perfectly. There are other color options too. I also like the dark green one. It looks amazing in a room with a lot of plants. If you place it next to greenery, it basically disappears into the background. Functionality-wise, it's quiet. Clean the air well. You can direct the airflow wherever you want. I've been using it for a few months now, and honestly I have nothing bad to say about it. When choosing appliances, always evaluate the design. How well it fits visually into your interior, at least on equal footing with the technical specs. I often see YouTube reviews when people compare power, noise level, energy use, extra features, but hardly anyone talks about how the appliance will look in your space. Here's the simple rule. Put design on the same level as all the other specs, because that's what you're going to be looking at every single day. Example, one model 10 out of 10 for features, another 9.5 out of 10 but looks perfectly in your room. You probably won't notice that 0.5 performance gap, but you will see the style mismatch every day. So it's better to go with something slightly less powerful if it looks amazing in your space. In the bedroom, I went with a different model, LG Air Furniture. And design-wise, it reminded me of something between flying saucer or a spaceship, which honestly fits perfectly with my lifestyle. I love sci-fi. When I go to bed, I usually listen to audiobooks. Big fan of Philip K. Dick and Lucy Sin. Sci-fi helps me disconnect, dive into another world and fall asleep faster. And this purifier feels like it belongs in that world. Why I chose it? It looks more like a nightstand than an appliance. You can easily place it right by the bed, instead of a regular bedside table. Built-in wireless charging. Super convenient for dropping your phone or earbuds at night. It has integrated lighting, controllable via an app. Turn it on and off, adjust brightness, and monitor the filter status and when it needs replacing. Look and customization. It comes in different colors. I was choosing between beige, black and red. I went with a beige for the bedroom towards sharp contrast since the room already has some accent elements. You can also pick different tabletop design with prints. I chose one with a nature theme, but it came in the wrong color because the artwork was originally made for the yellow model. How I fix it? Just grab a can of spray paint, match the color I needed, and carefully repainted the yellow trim. Okay, cons. I like the aero furniture. This model doesn't show humidity levels, and the built-in wireless charging isn't very powerful. But apart from that, I'm completely happy with it. By the way, friends, this is part of ongoing series where I'm setting up my apartment from scratch. In the previous episodes, I showed how to make the most of a small space. We visited IKEA and figured out what you can buy without ruining your interior. In episode 1, I shared how I chose this apartment as an architect and what criteria I used. If you haven't seen this yet, go check them out and watch till the end. Kettle, more important than you think. Nothing makes a kitchen look like an ugly kettle sitting in plain sight. I've already talked in our videos about how to hide appliances and organize your kitchen space. But the kettle is one of the things that always stays on the surface, and it often grabs attention. For this apartment, I went with a fellow kettle. It has a clean, minimal design. I picked the black version. It's both versatile and bold. Black is basically always present in interiors, so it pairs well with other appliances and details. Plus, these guys specialize in kettles, coffee gears, and thermoses. I was choosing between the large and small versions. Ended up going with the smaller one. The kettle has temperature hold and a few other features, but honestly I don't use them and don't really care. Rules for choosing standalone kitchen appliances. All your appliances should match stylistically. To make this work, here are 2 simple tricks. Same color, for example all black like mine, or everything in chrome. Same brand. Even different brands, chrome finishes can vary and that creates visual noise. Ideally stick to one collection. That way everything guaranteed to match 100%. Another brand I like WMF. In another apartment I had a steamer and kettle from WMF. Both metal, chrome and matte finish. Stylish, low-key and match each other perfectly. By the way, if you haven't seen my kitchen video, there'll be a link right here. I share tips on how to hide, built-in and organize kitchen appliances. Robot vacuum. I watched a ton of reviews and ended up choosing between 2 models. Dream and EcoVacs by EcoWorks. Text-wise, they're pretty much the same. But first I ordered the Dream, but in the Chinese version, because it was cheaper. And that's where I made my biggest mistake. I didn't read the fine print. That version only worked in mainland China. When the vacuum arrived, I couldn't connect it. The app requires a VPN set to a Chinese region. The firmware keeps updating and makes it even harder to use outside China. The result, a beautiful vacuum, great features, but totally unusable. Can't configure it, can't control it, can't even connect. Tip number 3. Never buy the Chinese version if you don't live in mainland China. Sure, it might cost half the price, but there's a very high chance you won't be able to use it. Unless you're a tech geek who knows how to deal with all that. Personally, I'm not. So I returned the Dream and start the search again. Since Dream didn't work out, I tried EcoVacs. Its body reminded me of droids from Star Wars. And as you know, I'm into sci-fi aesthetics. This time I ordered the official international version from a store. And it came with a power plug that fits my region, unlike Chinese version that come with a Chinese plug, integrated into the interior. I had an idea for my apartment, to build the robot vacuum into a cabinet. Here's what I did. Remove the bottom plinth from the cabinet, check the station's dimension before ordering it fit perfectly. Instead of deep drawers, I got shallow mesh pullouts from IKEA, so the base had enough depth. Now the vacuum sits inside the cabinet, almost invisible, but ready to go anytime. Features of modern robot vacuums and what to look for. Newer models can climb small steps. Some versions connect to water supply and the drainage, so you don't have to refill or empty them manually. And future models might have a robot arm to pick up your socks. The main rule: get the latest version with a station. From experience with EcoVacs, it's a bit clunky. Get stuck now and then, despite having AI support. Not perfect, but I still like it, it's good looking. but next time I'd probably go with Dream. The Dream app is simply better. By the way, a friend of mine recently bought a Dream version that's designed to fit neatly into a cabinet setup. All the links to the models I talk about are in the description. Projector or TV? The eternal question. For me personally, I go with a projector. Why? Because it's more modern, doesn't take up space in a small apartment, and lets you keep your wall clean if it's white. No need for a TV, no need for a media console. Turn it off and you've got a blank white wall again. But the projector isn't always the right choice. Cons: in bright daylight, the images is very visible. So for it to work well, you need either a professional high-end projector, plus a special screen, which also takes up space, or total blackout in the room. How to decide between a projector and a TV? It depends on your habit. If you often watch stuff during the day in bright rooms, a TV might be the better choice. If, like me, you usually watch in the evening or at night, a projector works just fine. How I solve it in my space? I have projectors in 2 rooms, the living room and the bedroom. The bedroom is fully blackout ready. Which projector I picked? I reviewed tons of models and narrowed it down to a few. First was the Valerian Pro. Based on reviews, it's the best mid-range model, but the design didn't work for me. Decent, but just didn't match my space. I'm attaching a comparison list from another review video. In the end, I went with a Vida C2 Ultra or Hisense C2 Ultra. Why? Built-in subwoofer and solid sound. I'm not an audiophile, so no need for a separate audio setup. Great reviews for brightness, image quality and user experience. Comes into 2 versions, for the international market and for mainland China. And now guess which version I picked, international or Chinese? Of course, the Chinese one. Why? It was cheaper and the body color matched my interior better. And color was the key factor for me. Design brain, you know. The Chinese version has its works. No official apps like Netflix, YouTube, etc. The launcher, home screen when it powers on, isn't Chinese. All built-in voice commands and AI features also only in Chinese. How I solve it? You can switch the system language to English. Takes just a couple of minutes. All the essential apps can be installed manually. No need for the official app store. And the main solution? Just connect a separate streaming device to the projector, like Nvidia Shield or Apple TV. Why that's convenient? These devices has all the official streaming platforms. They also add extra features including enhanced image quality, upscaling from HD to 4K. And by the way, why did I go with a projector in the first place? Because it creates a real atmosphere. Combined with a good sound, it's a total vibe. You can play rain sounds and project a tropical storm across your entire wall. Instantly transform the room into a calming space. In the evening, a virtual fireplace. Flames flickering and crackling wood sounds. Great cozy vibe even if you don't have a real fireplace. Or aim the projector at the ceiling and making a starry night sky. Perfect for relaxing before sleep. For me, a projector isn't just for watching movies. It's a way to bring emotion, mood and atmosphere into the space. Let's talk about well-known brands that heavily market themselves through design. One of the most iconic ones, SMEG. Yes, it has a beautiful and recognizable aesthetic, but, and this is important, it doesn't suit every interior. SMEG usually fits only 2 interior styles really well, loft and Scandinavian. If you have something else, modern minimalism, Japanese-inspired interiors, or warm neoclassicism, SMEG can clash with the space and break the visual harmony. When SMEG works great. If you got a loft or a Scandi-style space, go for SMEG's freestanding fridges, even in bold colors. They can be a standout design element in the kitchen. You can complete the look with toaster, kettles and other SMEG appliances. One important note. All the appliances should be the same color. If your kettle is yellow, the toaster is green and the fridge is red, you'll get a traffic light effect and your kitchen will visually fall apart. Freestanding fridges. How to make them work in your interior. Let's dive a bit deeper into freestanding refrigerators. They're usually more functional than built-ins. Larger capacity, often better interior layout, and usually cheaper than built-in models. But visually, They're a separate object, and you need to handle them carefully in the design. Personal example. In one of my previous apartments, I had a freestanding fridge. I purposely didn't integrate it into the kitchen. Instead, I placed it separately, so it would stand on its own, not pretend to be part of cabinetry. Color black to match other dark accents in the space. Examples from other projects. In many interiors I've worked on with my team, we used freestanding fridges when clients wanted big side-by-side models. Here's what we did. Created a space for the fridge, used metal finishes, visually separated it from the kitchen layout. The result, it didn't feel out of place and actually worked as both a statement and a practical elements. The biggest mistake. Try to fake a built-in look with a freestanding fridge, as if it was meant to be a part of the kitchen units. It almost always ends up looking like this. We wanted built-in, but set at last minute to save money. And it ruins the whole kitchen vibe. And finally, let's talk about Dyson. Dyson is a brand that knows exactly how to get your attention. They got vacuums, hair dryers, air purifiers, humidifiers, and all of it with bold, instantly recognizable design. That design is intentional, so that when you're walking through a mall, you spot their vacuum or hair dryer and want to buy it, just because it looks good. But that's exactly the problem. If your interior doesn't look like a Dyson showroom, that device just won't fit your style. And then you become a victim of marketing. It looked amazing in the store, but ends up clashing with your home. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't buy Dyson. For example, I gifted a Dyson to my wife, and she was thrilled because she really wanted it. Here are a few ways to make Dyson work. Hair dryers, stylers, and other beauty gadgets can just be stored in a bathroom cabinet. So the way they look doesn't matter. The brand does have a few neutral fan and air purifier models that look calm and minimal. You can easily keep those on display. The main takeaway today was simple. You should look at appliances not just from a functionality standpoint, but also from a design perspective, and vice versa, not just at the design, but at the actual specs and your personal preference and desires, including brand loyalty. When all of that is in balance, you create a space that feels good to be in, that gives you energy and helps you relax when you come back home. Drop a comment with examples of beautiful and functional tech that you found for your own space. And what should we talk about in the next episodes? Freestanding furniture, custom-made furniture, furniture from China, how to pick curtains, or how I'm setting up my smart home. Let me know in the comments what you're curious about, and I'll shape the series around your interest. See you in the next episode.